Today's artwork was made in the new Adobe Fresco app. Today's video was brought to you in part by Skillshare.com. Skillshare is an online learning platform dedicated to helping you learn a new skill. They've got more than 25,000 classes in art, cooking, business, and so much more. This fall season, Adobe and Skillshare partnered up to create some very informative classes on the new illustration app from Adobe, Fresco. Fresco is an app for every artist, even those who traditionally work with paint and paper, like me. It's got tons of unique features to choose from, including some absolutely wild live brushes that almost identically mimic the real-time flow of paints like watercolor and oil. You can open up a world of possibilities while using Fresco. It's free to download on your iPad today, and with the classes from Skillshare to help guide you, you'll be a Fresco pro in a snap. With Skillshare, what's great is their annual subscription rate is less than $10 a month. That's way cheaper than signing up for a class at your local community college. Every creator on their site puts tons of effort into their lessons, like Dylan Mierzwinski and her course, Illustration Practice, Lettering and Florals with Adobe Fresco. Now, even though Fresco is pretty user-friendly, I wanted some more insight on how to get the most out of the application. My number one most taken classes on Skillshare are always about lettering and florals, so when I saw lettering, florals, and Adobe Fresco, I jumped right on board. Dylan's language was clear and concise and really helped me understand a lot more about Adobe Fresco when it comes to art that I like to make. You'll see later in the video how I tried to emulate this style a little bit while I created my piece in this video. Overall, this was a really great introduction to not only Adobe Fresco, but also lettering and florals. Make sure to click the link in the description for 2 months of Skillshare Premium for free, just to try it. So why don't you learn something new today with Skillshare? There's something to be said about a creator who is able to navigate their way through darkness, who is able to stand tall in the face of adversity and use it to create dynamic works of art. Society seems to worship the idea of the broken artist who, without great conflict, would not be able to create great things. But what about those of us who have faced great conflict only to find it dampens our ability to make anything at all? Like we're the only artist who cannot make a delightfully melancholy piece while living a not-so-delightfully melancholy existence. Take your anguish and turn it into art, people say, without realizing that if you could do that, you would have done it many times over. You feel isolated, like a chunk of ice that's been broken from a glacier, floating farther and farther away. Things that were familiar and comforting seem distant, empty, pointless, like all the color has been drained. If this sounds at all familiar to you, then this video may be of some help to you. Now, I want to add a disclaimer that I am not a mental health professional, just someone who's experienced depression and the very frustrating inability to create while caught in its downward pull. This doesn't mean my advice is a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. I'm just trying to take some of what has helped me in the past and pay it forward, hoping that it strikes a chord with someone else out there. I'm just trying to tread lightly here because in all likelihood, my journey with depression is very different from your journey with depression. So if this video doesn't help you in any way, I've made sure to post some additional resources in the description down below. Please know that this video in no way should be a replacement for seeking out legitimate professional help. It should only stand as an encouragement to have faith in yourself in times of strife. That being said, the very first thing I want you to acknowledge is that it's completely acceptable for you to feel uncreative at this time. A common symptom of depression is feeling detached or uninterested in activities that you used to regularly enjoy. So my first piece of advice is that if you are not interested in creating art and feel like you need to take a step back, that is absolutely within your right to do so. If part of your healing journey is to turn your focus back on yourself, to work inward first, then you shouldn't feel guilt for doing that. You may experience bouts of guilt throughout your journey. Depression has a funny way of making you feel guilty for things you have no control over. When this happens, try to relegate the guilt to just a symptom. It doesn't control your life. You are not your guilt. Your guilt is a separate entity that's just here to mess with you. It's like a little annoying goblin that wants you to feel bad. Depression has many lackeys and minions that it sends out to pester you, to hurt you, but they are not a part of you. They are only a part of what you're going through at this moment. My next piece of advice, if you are in a place where you'd like to start creating again, is to have a sketchbook/journal that is only for you. It can be more a journal than a sketchbook, or it can be a sketchbook that has the occasional emotional blurb. It's whatever you make it. Most importantly, try not to focus on making this book perfect. It isn't to share, it's to help you work through your depression day by day. It's not a sketchbook that you'll lovingly flip through when you're older. It's one that you might use as a tool if depression ever rears its ugly head again. This perfectly leads me into my third piece of advice, which is to draw what feels right that day, not what you think you should be drawing. Now, if creating art is your work and you cannot afford to take the time off, I'm not saying to blow off your work. I'm talking about the notion that for some reason you should always be practicing strictly for improvement. While working in this private sketchbook, you're not necessarily trying to improve your art skills, though you may find it does that anyway. In this book, you're creating what feels most natural, to ease you back into a place where you can work on anatomy or structure or what have you. You want to start from a place of comfort, a place without pressure. One day you might feel most comfortable drawing lines and spirals, where the next day you feel like drawing something more detailed or dynamic. My point is to let your mind be completely free. Don't worry about a theme to this book. Don't worry about practice. You're in a fragile state, and creating anything is being proactive. It's taking a step in the right direction. Even if one day all you feel like making is a single solitary line. If that feels right, if that's what you can do it. Even if it seems silly, do it. You are working out something within yourself. Every forward action, even something small, is progress. Don't forget that. Something else you might find helpful is to write down what you were feeling when you made a certain sketch. It doesn't have to be this long, in-depth paragraph if you don't want it to be. It can just be a few descriptive words. Doing this may help you understand more about your depression as you move forward, what you tend to create in certain high or low points. You may be someone who, on good days, draws something a little more simple, something less involved as to not get bogged down, or you may be the opposite. If you see a simple drawing in your book, it may be symptomatic of a really dark day where you didn't want to bother with your sketchbook too much. Keeping track of your highs and lows is a really important way to understand more about your specific depression. Your depression's quote-unquote flavor, if you will, because depression doesn't present exactly the same in everyone. This brings me to my next tip, which is very optional, but I find it brings a little bit of lightheartedness back into this whole journey. Try drawing what your depression looks like. That may change from week to week, day to day. You may choose to update your depression every now and again, but just give it a shot. Imagine it like a page in a Wreck My Journal style of book. Feel free to be silly, feel free to be emotional, feel free to add word bubbles and bad language and scribbles and gestures. Use this page as a reminder that you are not your depression. Remember, your depression and all its minions like guilt, shame, anger, Dancer, Prancer, Rachel, Monica, Ross, they are a part of what you're going through. They are not you. Moving forward, if you ever have days where you simply don't know what to draw, I recommend my tried and true suggestion, which is draw from life. Even if it ends up being stylized and not realistic, who cares? You've made something. Remember, we aren't in competitions with ourselves here. We aren't running any races. We are here to nurture the thing that means a lot to us, our ability to create. And if that means you go on a random image generator and it pulls up a picture of a rock, draw that rock with all your heart. Add a face to it. Add a little fairy shaving her legs on the top of it. Leave it plain. It doesn't matter. You're making strides in the right direction. Now, here's another more lighthearted piece of advice. Decorate the living hell out of your sketchbook. Have fun with hot glue or googly eyes or embossing powder. Go crazy. Yes, the sketchbook is just for you, and yes, I'd understand if you'd like to make it more understated, but if it suits you, bust out that glitter glue, sis. Even if you just want to add something simple yet defining, go ahead and do that. Personalize the outside so it can feel even more personal on the inside. And my final piece of advice is this. Let your creativity be a stone with which you build, not a stone with which you destroy. If you have days where you're feeling less creative than days prior, don't see that as regression. That is a necessary part of being an artist in general, but it's a very normal part of depression. Use those days as reflection days, to look back, to admire, to be impressed with the strides you've made. Don't let those days beat you up and destroy your self-worth. Look at all the progress you've made and use that progress to build upon your future. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and thank you very much to Skillshare for sponsoring what I feel is an important video. This video may not reach as many people as I would like it to thanks to the YouTube algorithm, so if you know someone who would benefit in any way from watching this video, I would really appreciate it if you'd share it with them. I really do think this advice is solid, and I worked really hard to make this script digestible for everyone, so if this has helped you in any way, please let me know how in the comments down below. Not all these ideas are my own original thoughts. They are things I've heard over the years from different people, different artists. This really is just a compilation of things that have strengthened me in times of hardship. Speaking of which, I'm going through a few things right now that I'm unable to speak on. I will be able to speak on those things relatively soon, but please continue to be patient with me. I just don't have a lot of time right now, and I'm trying to deal with prior obligations, so if the channel is a little wonky, that's why. Luckily, this wonkiness is all time sensitive, so after a few weeks, things should return to normal. In the meantime, there just might be a little bit of a longer stretch between videos. Nothing about the channel itself is changing. I'm still doing talking funny videos. I just think YouTube is being a butt right now, and going forward, I bet you anything they will only notify you guys when I do a non-speaking brushstrokes episode. I'm actually really curious about that, so let me know if that's the only thing you're getting notified for, as I'm going to make more brushstrokes episodes going forward, but just as an addition to my regular content. Anyway, thank you guys so much for your kindness, your thoughts, your patience. If you're curious about updates, I do update on Twitter pretty regularly. I also post DeBabe's pics, so it's just a good place to be overall. Not only that, but the best way to get in touch with me or have your questions answered is to either comment on a recent YouTube video or to @ me on Twitter. I don't check DMs on Twitter just because there's a lot of negativity and I don't want to invite that into my life, but I will sit there and answer ats all day happily. But anyway, real quick guys, I used the new Adobe Fresco app to create the image for this video, and I actually really liked using it. There are some mechanics in Procreate that I prefer, like being able to create a perfect circle or line, but I just found out that they are going to integrate that into Fresco soon, so that's really exciting. But there are some really unique brushes that come with Fresco, like these live brushes. I cannot wait until they release more of these because I am absolutely living for them. I feel like watercolor is the most difficult medium to recreate in the digital format, and I feel like this live watercolor brush has just absolutely nailed it. I cannot wait to see what else they're going to release under this live brush section. It's just another really good iPad drawing app, which I actually think we need more of. Being able to leech some goodness from different apps has been the way of digital art since the beginning of digital art itself. That variety is important, the same way it's important to play with different mediums when working traditionally. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to stay out of trouble. See you guys later.